Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to me with more than your ears tonight. I want you to listen with that quiet place inside you that thinks when the noise stops, that part of you that reflects when you are alone, when the lights are off, when your phone is face down and the future suddenly feels closer than it used to. We are standing at the edge of a year that many people have joked about, postponed for, fantasized about, and casually assumed will simply arrive and fix things. But I came to say this with all the clarity of science, the weight of lived experience, and the urgency of truth. 2026 is not a joke. Time is not a metaphor. Your life is not a rehearsal. And seriousness is not the enemy of joy. It is the doorway to meaning. As someone who studies the brain, human behavior, and the fragile architecture of health and purpose, I can tell you this: the human mind has an extraordinary ability to lie gently to itself. Not loudly, not violently, but softly. It whispers, you still have time. It says, not now. It says, others are behind you. It says, when things are more convenient, when motivation comes, when the season changes. Neurologically, this is not weakness, it is survival wiring. The brain is designed to reduce discomfort, to preserve energy, to delay pain. But what helps us survive short-term discomfort can destroy long-term destiny if left unchecked. I have met brilliant people with extraordinary potential whose greatest enemy was not trauma, not poverty, not lack of opportunity, but delay. Delay dressed up as wisdom. Delay disguised as patience. Delay wearing the perfume of spirituality, positivity, or intellectual sophistication. And while they were waiting for clarity, waiting for confidence, waiting for a sign, something invisible but irreversible was happening. Neural pathways were being reinforced. Habits were being hardened. Time was converting possibility into pattern. You see, every repeated thought becomes a neurological groove. Every postponed decision trains the brain that postponement is acceptable. Every year you live beneath your capacity, your nervous system recalibrates and calls it normal. This is not philosophy, this is neuroscience. The brain does not argue with your intentions, it responds to your actions. It does not reorganize around what you hope to become, it reorganizes around what you consistently do. And this is why 2026 matters, not because of the number, but because of what the number represents. It represents accumulation, it represents momentum, it represents the frightening speed with which years now pass compared to when you were a child. When you were 5, 1 year was 20% of your life. Now 1 year feels like a blink. That is not imagination, that is perception science. As we age, the brain compresses time because novelty decreases. Routine speeds life up. Unexamined living accelerates aging. I want to tell you a story that I often share with medical students. Two individuals enter their 30s with similar intelligence, similar health, similar backgrounds. One takes their inner life seriously. They manage stress. They sleep with discipline. They confront emotional wounds. They build skills intentionally. They choose discomfort early. The other says, I'll figure it out later. They live reactively. They numb stress instead of processing it. They postpone growth. 10 years later, the difference between them is not subtle. One looks younger, thinks clearer, moves with confidence and has options. The other feels tired, confused, resentful and trapped. Same starting point, different seriousness. Your body keeps score. Your brain keeps receipts. Your future does not forget. I am deeply concerned by a culture that treats life like a draft message that can be edited forever. We swipe, scroll, postpone, consume, and distract ourselves into a false sense of progress. Dopamine has been cheapened. Pleasure is everywhere, but satisfaction is rare. And the cost of this is not just productivity, it is identity. When a person does not live with intention, they eventually lose a clear sense of who they are. And when identity weakens, anxiety rises, depression increases, meaning evaporates. People think seriousness means sadness. No, seriousness means alignment. It means your values, actions, biology, and time are pointing in the same direction. It means when you wake up, your nervous system knows why it is awake. It means your energy is not leaking into 1,000 unimportant things. It means you respect your future self enough to inconvenience your present self. Let me speak plainly. Some of you are exhausted not because you are doing too much, but because you are doing too little of what matters. The brain experiences a unique kind of fatigue when effort is misaligned with purpose. You can rest all day and still feel tired if your life lacks direction. That is why weekends don't fix burnout anymore. That is why entertainment no longer restores you. Your system is craving coherence, not escape. And here is the part many people do not like to hear. There is a window in every season of life where certain changes are easier. Neuroplasticity exists across the lifespan, yes, but it is not equal at every age. Certain habits are easier to build earlier. Certain recovery curves are steeper later. Certain doors do not close dramatically, they just become heavier to open. And one day, you need so much energy to do what once required little that you interpret the resistance as a sign it is not meant for you, when in reality, it is simply delayed obedience. I have watched people wait for confidence before acting, not realizing that confidence is a byproduct of action, not a prerequisite. The brain releases confidence chemicals after movement, not before. Courage follows motion. Clarity follows engagement. Purpose is not found in isolation. It is revealed in responsibility. If you want to know how serious you are with your life, don't listen to your affirmations. Look at your calendar. Look at your sleep patterns. Look at what you do when no one is watching. Look at what you avoid. Avoidance is one of the most honest diagnostics of fear, and fear left unexamined quietly runs lives. There is something sacred about urgency when it is rooted in wisdom. Not panic, not anxiety, but reverence for time. A healthy awareness that this moment will never return in the same form. That your current body, brain, and opportunities are temporary configurations. That the cost of delay compounds silently. I am not here to threaten you with doom. I am here to invite you into alignment. To remind you that your life responds when you treat it with seriousness. When you decide that distraction is too expensive. When you choose depth over noise. When you stop outsourcing responsibility for your future to hope alone. 2026 is not waiting to motivate you. It is not arriving with a personality. It will not negotiate with your excuses. It will simply come, and it will ask one question, not with words, but with realities. Who did you become while time was passing? The most dangerous assumption you can make is that you will suddenly become disciplined, focused, healthy, and purposeful in a future that is built by the same habits you are practicing now. Transformation is not magical, it is mechanical. It follows laws. And those laws are already at work in your life. I have seen people cry not because they failed, but because they woke up too late to the realization that no one was coming to rescue their unused potential. That responsibility is not cruel, it is empowering. Because if you are responsible, then you are powerful. And if you are powerful, then change is possible. Be serious with your sleep. It is not laziness. It is neural repair. Be serious with your thoughts. They are chemical instructions to your body. Be serious with your time. It is the only currency you never get refunded. Be serious with your inner life. What you do not heal, you repeat. What you do not confront, you transmit. You do not need to become extreme. You need to become intentional. You do not need to do everything. You need to do the right things consistently. Small disciplines practiced daily outperform dramatic decisions made occasionally. Your brain loves rhythm. Your future loves consistency. And please hear this, seriousness does not mean you stop laughing. It means your laughter is no longer a mask. It means joy becomes deeper because it is no longer built on avoidance. The most joyful people I know are not careless, they are aligned. They have made peace with effort. They have befriended responsibility. They have accepted that meaning requires weight. One day, not far from now, you will look back at this season and it will either be a quiet turning point or a familiar regret. Not because of what you didn't have, but because of what you didn't honor. The tragedy of life is not failure, it is frivolity. So I challenge you, not emotionally, but intelligently, not with fear, but with clarity, treat your life as if it matters, because biologically, psychologically, and existentially, it does. Step into the discipline that your future self is begging you for. Let 2026 meet you different, not because circumstances changed, but because you did. And if you do this, truly do this, you will discover something remarkable. Life begins to cooperate with seriousness. Your mind becomes clearer. Your body responds. Your opportunities expand. Not magically, but lawfully. This is your moment to decide that delay has cost enough. That distraction has taken enough. That potential deserves expression. Stand up in your own life. Align your days with your destiny. And walk forward, not casually, not carelessly, but with the quiet strength of someone who understands that time is sacred, and so are they. And let me press this further, because there is a layer of this conversation that is uncomfortable but necessary. Many people are not actually afraid of failure. They are afraid of success, because success removes excuses. When nothing has happened yet, you can blame circumstances, people, timing, systems. But the moment you begin to win, responsibility becomes personal. The brain, especially under chronic stress, will often choose familiar pain over unfamiliar growth. That is why people stay in cycles they complain about. The known discomfort feels safer than the unknown demand of change. From a neurological standpoint, the brain is an efficiency machine. It will always choose the path that consumes the least cognitive energy. That is why habits are powerful. That is why routines, whether good or bad, become automatic. And that is why seriousness is not a feeling, it is a system. You do not wait to feel serious. You design your environment so that seriousness becomes inevitable. You remove friction from good choices and add friction to destructive ones. You structure your days so that your highest values get your freshest energy, not your leftovers. I want you to understand something critical. Motivation is unreliable, but systems are faithful. Emotion fluctuates, but structure endures. The people who appear disciplined are not superheroes. They are architects. They have learned that willpower is a limited resource, but design is scalable. They respect how the brain actually works, not how they wish it worked. And this is why casual living is so dangerous. Casual living assumes tomorrow will compensate for today. But tomorrow is built with today's bricks. The brain does not reset at midnight. The patterns you reinforce tonight walk into tomorrow with you. You are never starting over. You are always continuing. There is also a biological cost to chronic postponement that few people talk about. When you consistently avoid what you know you should do, your brain experiences cognitive dissonance. Over time, to reduce the discomfort, it does one of two things. Either it pushes you toward change, or it numbs your conscience. Many people mistake numbness for peace. But numbness is not peace. It is a warning sign. It is the nervous system saying, I cannot keep fighting you, so I will shut parts of you down. This is how passion dies quietly. This is how dreams become embarrassing to mention. This is how people age internally long before their bodies catch up. I have sat with individuals who reached what society calls success, yet felt empty, restless, and strangely disconnected from themselves. When we trace the origin, it was almost always the same story: years of small compromises against inner conviction. Nothing dramatic, just consistent neglect of what mattered most. Success without alignment is exhausting. Achievement without meaning burns people out faster than failure. You see, the human system is not designed merely to survive, it is designed to contribute. When contribution is missing, the psyche rebels. Anxiety is often unused energy. Depression is frequently frozen purpose. This does not mean every mental health challenge is a choice, absolutely not. But it does mean that meaning is a powerful protective factor. When you know why you wake up, your nervous system organizes itself differently. This is why I am insisting that you be serious now, not later. Later is not guaranteed to come with the same strength, the same clarity, the same opportunity. later often comes with more responsibilities, more fatigue, more consequences. Wisdom is doing early what regret forces late. Some of you are waiting for permission. Let me release you from that illusion. No one is coming to announce your moment. No voice will thunder from the sky telling you it is finally time to take your health seriously, your calling seriously, your growth seriously. Life whispers first. It nudges, it unsettles. And if you ignore whispers long enough, it raises its volume through pain, loss, and limitation, not as punishment, but as consequence. And please hear this compassionately. Being serious does not mean being harsh with yourself. It means being honest. Self-compassion without accountability becomes indulgence. Accountability without compassion becomes cruelty. Maturity is holding both. You acknowledge where you are without shame, and you commit to where you must go without excuses. I want you to imagine your future self for a moment. Not as a fantasy, but as a biological continuation of who you are now. Same DNA, same nervous system, just shaped by years of repetition. That future version of you is either thanking you or begging you to change. They are living inside the decisions you make today. They will inherit your habits, your health, your skills, your unresolved wounds. You are not living just for now, you are stewarding a life that is still forming. If 2026 could speak, it would not threaten you, it would not flatter you, it would simply reflect you. It would show you the compound interest of your focus or your distraction. And the truth is, compound interest is neutral. It multiplies whatever you feed it. So feed it intention, feed it discipline, feed it honesty, feed it courage. There is a quiet confidence that emerges when a person knows they are no longer wasting their life. Even before results show up externally, something settles internally. The noise reduces, the mind sharpens, the body responds. You sleep better, you think clearer, you stand straighter. This is not mystical, it is alignment. I am asking you to make a decision that is not dramatic, not performative, not for applause. A private decision, a deep one, that from this moment forward, you will treat your life as sacred work. That you will stop living as if time is endless and start living as if meaning is urgent. Do not underestimate what a focused year can do. 1 year of seriousness can repair a decade of drift. 1 year of intentional living can reset trajectories, heal systems, and open doors you thought were permanently closed. But it starts with respect for time, for truth, for yourself. Stand up internally. Even if your circumstances have not changed yet, let your posture change, let your language change, let your standards change. The world eventually adjusts to people who adjust themselves first. And when pressure comes, and it will, do not interpret it as a sign to retreat. Growth stretches systems. Resistance is not rejection, it is often confirmation that you are leaving familiar territory. So as you leave this moment, do not leave inspired only, leave organized, leave committed, leave awake. Because 2026 is not a joke, it is a mirror. And what it reflects back to you will be shaped by how seriously you choose to live starting now. And let me add this, because some of you are thinking, I hear this, but I am already behind. That thought itself is one of the most dangerous lies the mind can tell. Behind compared to what? Compared to whom? The brain loves false benchmarks because they justify surrender. Life is not a race against others. It is a responsibility to your own potential. The only real failure is refusing to engage because the starting line feels embarrassing. From a scientific perspective, the brain does not punish late starters, it punishes quitters. Neural change responds to consistency, not age-based shame. What matters is not when you start, but whether you sustain. The moment you decide to align your actions with your values, your nervous system begins reorganizing. Hope is not Navi, it is biological. The body responds to direction. You must also understand that seriousness will require you to disappoint people who benefit from your casualness. Not everyone will clap when you change. Some relationships survive only because you were small. Some environments are comfortable only because you were quiet. Growth rearranges social dynamics. And this is where many people retreat, not because the path is unclear, but because the cost feels lonely. But loneliness is not always a sign of error. Sometimes it is a transition space between who you were and who you are becoming. The brain resists social risk because belonging is a survival need. Yet, meaningful belonging is built on authenticity, not appeasement. You cannot build a future by shrinking to preserve familiarity. As you become more serious, your standards will rise. And when standards rise, tolerance for chaos drops. You will begin to notice how much energy you once spent explaining yourself, defending distractions, rationalizing delay. And slowly, quietly, you will stop. Not because you are arrogant, but because you are focused. Focus is not obsession. It is the disciplined allocation of attention to what actually matters. Attention is a biological resource. What you attend to strengthens, what you ignore weakens. This is why your inputs matter, your conversations matter, your inner dialogue matters. You cannot think your way into a new life while feeding your mind the same noise that built the old one. And please remember this: seriousness is not rigidity. It is responsiveness to truth. If you discover you are wrong, you adjust quickly. If you fail, you learn without drama. If you fall, you recover without self-hatred. Serious people do not pretend, they adapt. They respect reality enough to respond to it. There will be days when discipline feels heavy. That does not mean it is wrong. Muscles burn when they grow. Neurons fire when they rewire. Discomfort is not always a signal to stop. Sometimes it is evidence of change. Learn to distinguish pain that injures from pain that instructs. I want you to leave with this image. Imagine your life as a living system seeking equilibrium. When your actions, values, and time are misaligned, the system produces symptoms: stress, confusion, fatigue, dissatisfaction. When alignment increases, the system stabilizes. Peace is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of order. Order does not happen accidentally. It is chosen, maintained, protected. So choose order, choose depth, choose responsibility, not tomorrow, not when things calm down, not when you feel ready. Readiness is the reward of obedience, not the requirement. One day, long from now, you will not remember most of the noise of this era, but you will remember whether you respected your life or treated it casually. You will remember whether you stood up when it mattered or waited for permission that never came. Be serious, not grim, not fearful, not rigid, but awake. Awake to time, awake to truth, awake to the fact that your life is speaking every day through your choices. And if you listen, really listen, it will guide you towards something rare in this generation, a life that is not just lived, but lived on purpose. Thank you.